Hey, what's good, peoples, man? Before we get this episode started, it'd be dope if you toss us a like, a subscribe, and also don't forget to turn on those bell notifications, man. We truly appreciate it.
You're not my man. You're not my man. You're a genius.
And we are live. What's goody, people? This is another edition or iteration or segment or episode of the Who's Manz series we got going on for the NotYamanz podcast. Shout out to everybody that checks in on these. This is a dope showcase to just hear a good side from artists that, you know, got some names, some no names, some underground, some mid-ground, wherever the fuck you want to call it.
Indeed.
It's good to hear what artists have to say. It's good to see where their head's at. It's good to see their message. And honestly, it's good to just get that bit of them that you're not necessarily going to get from that homie. He's like, yo, listen to my friend, you know, all that extra shit. So, you know, it's me, John D. Contradiction. I'm here with Reckless as always. And today we have one of Reckless's peoples from Reckless's side of the world.
Yeah. Going back to the West Coast for y'all New York peeps. And artists, introduce yourself, man.
Facts. Introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Amplified. Amp for short, of course. And yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. And thanks for having me. And thanks for putting on for our hometown, Santa Cruz, California. And it's a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Reckless deserves a statue for how much he shows love.
I do my best.
He needs a mural. Like, he needs something put up somewhere, bro. Like an Easter egg in a California video game. Something.
Some shit, man. Yeah. Throw me a bone.
Because he shows mad love, bro. It's just crazy, bro. Like, his energy is mad fucking. You just can't help but get wrapped up in it. And it's dope to see somebody support. Like, I tell you fucking straight up, like, I wish Long Island was like that. I tried to be that for where I'm at in Long Island, but people are, you know, egos, big heads, and all that bullshit. So it is what it is. But so we got some questions for you and all that. But first and foremost, let people know what you do as far as music. Let them know what's your thing. If you do it all, if you do a little this, little that, you know, let us know what you do in this music shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think like down to it, I definitely rap. You know, that's like the main thing that I grew up on and that I started is just being a rapper, and then the singing came along, and now I've kind of like put it all together, and now that's like a part of who I am as an artist. It's you know,
okay.
It's definitely more well-rounded now. And I also do produce, do engineer a lot of the stuff that I make, and I help produce other people. You know, it might not be like the full production of like a beat, but if it's like a vocal arrangement, or if it's writing out harmonies, or if it's creating a bridge for somebody else, even if I'm not on it or credited, just like all around in music for sure. But as Amplified, definitely like this weird hybrid crossing genre, like rapper singer guy, like a lot of people are nowadays. I feel like there's a lot of people who are hybrids now.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much music, and we're in a world where pop is the influence of pop is in everything now. You know, people have figured out what made pop so popular, what makes pop catch to you. So it's kind of added, like, that whole format is added into everything now. That's why hip hop is it's tough. Like, as me being somewhat of an old head, I can't even say that I'm fully on board with the old fashioned way of like 8-bar loops, hook verse, you know what I'm saying? I'm even like, mix it up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because of that pop influence.
Yeah. And the access to be able to make music from your home has like
much different
made and created that wave of pop, even more so than it was already before, when it was like first commercialized, going from the 90s into the 2000s. You know, now everybody has the access to rap and to sing, even if you're not good. So
unfortunately,
and you can create, and that's the beauty of everything now. Like, you can literally build yourself up from nothing as an artist. Like, oh, I want to learn how to rap. You can look up how to rap. You can look up, and then it's like, oh, I want to learn how to sing. I want to learn how to harmonize. I want to learn, you know, some notes, maybe a little mixing. We have that shit is at our fingertips. Like, it's not just the engineers and the school kids anymore. It's the person who has that extra hour a day in their basement, you know what I'm saying, to look up these things. So it's a beautiful thing. I mean, as far as just the evolution of where it's at.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy. It's been insane evolving because I started my career and I started like writing and making music like right as the iPhone came out, you know. So it's like my career has like anytime I thought that I had a niche in something, oh, it's different now. It's changed.
Changed up.
You know, right. Yeah. I graduated high school in 2012 and just 2012, 2022, 10 years ago now is just, it's a whole different world. And how, you know, I used to have I had an iPod in 2012. Now it's like, you know, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever you listen to on. So it's just a different.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, but that's a good thing too. Like just being a part of that kind of that growth and that change in the music world, it kind of gives you hit a point where that hunger has no choice than to turn into love. Like Absolutely. You love the music. That's why you can do the little bits and the small things and the different things, because it's not just like, I want to make music. I want to be this. I want to out rap this. Now it's like, yo, I want my music to pop. I want to make that shit beautiful. I want to make it, you know, if I want it to bang, I want it to bang. And you kind of develop this like obsession, but like this love, you know what I'm saying? You just always want more. Like, oh, I want to make this better. How do I make this better? And that comes with that kind of growth. If you're one of the kids that were just born into this free access world, some of them get a little lazy. They just have it there and they're like, fuck it, you know, but you know, it is what it is. But that's my question. Let Reckless dive into, I know he got his list.
Yes, sir. All right. So you are from Santa Cruz, California. I know you come back and forth from San Jose and back, but like you're mostly known for being from Santa Cruz. Am I right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted to let you know. I want let people know, like, how's the Santa Cruz like music scene? Like, tell us a little bit about it, because it's mostly forgotten, right? Even the Bay Area, we talk about the Bay, SAC, you know, all that, LA, but Santa Cruz don't really have any real shine. You know, talk to us about it. Yeah,
man. I think, you know, I guess like providing some context on where I fit in the Santa Cruz scene. You know, before we go straight into that answer is I'm definitely like a tale of two cities. Like I was born in Santa Cruz. My whole family immigrated there from Portugal, immigrated to Santa Cruz from Portugal. And then, you know, right around when I was in like middle school, I lived in San Jose. My mother remarried and I was going back and forth. And so I was able to kind of analyze like the San Jose music scene and the Santa Cruz scene. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think the thing that has separated the Bay Area and from Santa Cruz is, you know, Santa Cruz just is just a really white place, you know, it has a lot of white people. And so it's not a native white thing. And so it's interesting and how it's developed and like what the primary genre has been and what the primary music scene in Santa Cruz has been is more folk music. A lot of like songwriters find themselves in Santa Cruz. And, you know, there's like the UCSC has like UCSC has the bread diversity. If you don't know UCSC, it's like the big college in Santa Cruz. Mm-hmm. And that's like been sort of a gateway to bring more diversity. And, you know, over time, more people of different ethnic backgrounds have moved to Santa Cruz. And so you're starting to see more hip hop now too. Because I remember growing up, like I was one of the only rappers out there with like a lot of the older heads who, you know, there was maybe like a scene in hip hop out there that was maybe like 10 to 15 people that I knew of. But then when I went to San Jose, I was just in diversity and all races, backgrounds, ethnicities, people rapping and speaking and creating music in other languages. Not that wasn't in Santa Cruz, just not at that level because San Jose is like one of the largest cities in the country, you know? And so my bad. Go back. What was the question again?
Just like that's how the scene is nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't really know about how it is.
And so right now is a really cool time. I feel like the Santa Cruz music scene is extremely diverse. Not only is there hip hop now, but there still is those same groups of songwriters, but there's like EDM DJs, you know, Oliver Tree is from Santa Cruz. Like you still got the Expendables, who was like one of the biggest reggae rock bands in the country. and like one of the pioneers of that small genre that like Sublime, you know, really took to like a huge popular level. And, you know, I think, Santa Cruz right now is a cool place to start making music. And with the internet, you know, we've been able to see acts like Oliver Tree again, like be like one of like the main headlines of, maybe not the main headline, but, you know, on that list of festivals, you know, like the top two, the tiers of artists, like Oliver Tree is up at Outside Lands and Lollapalooza. And that's so sick. So I think right now the Santa Cruz music scene, it's a cool place because the internet, it's more diverse, and it's I don't know, it's more accepting than it ever was.
Yeah, man, I've been there a hell of times, you know, for different like events, and it's always a welcoming environment, hella chill. You know, everyone's just like the coolest people ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they had a lot of cypher sessions. Team Backpack was doing hella things out there and shit. You know, it's a cool thing. Yeah,
yeah. Mike Mulder for a lot of events out there, and you know, we were able to connect. They were able to kind of connect with Team Backpack and do ciphers and you know, bring some of those acts that were like showcased on Team Backpack, like Jeff Turner, who's a friend of mine. He's amazing, and you know, he did shows out there. So yeah, man, definitely.
Cool shit. And tell us about your name. How did you come up with the name Amplify for your stage name?
You know, I was in high school. It was it was given to me by my buddy, who at the time, he goes actually by Seraphic G. His name is Gabe. And he doesn't really rap like anymore, like at the level of like pursuing artistry. But at the time he was just like, man, I just feel like your voice is really upfront and it's in people's faces. Like you're very direct with your lyrics and your words and the way you project on a microphone. And so just amplified. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's like a good MC name.
That's dope.
And like through like the style of delivery that I have, like to me, like when I thought of it, it just kind of makes sense. So I just stuck with it. And, you know, it was just given to me, you know, I didn't really make it up. So I was just kind of rocked with it. I felt like that was like a cool way to go about it. Although it has been a search engine nightmare, because when you search I'm the first thing that comes up, obviously. And, you know, it's just it just is what it is in that regard.
Yeah. Hey,
that's the goal, is to knock out the top 3 from the search engines, man.
I got to get my Google ad game on, bro.
Yeah, you just got to keep going.
So who are your influences coming up in the game?
Man.
We about to
I used to be into, still am, but at a different level, you know, the taste has evolved over time. But I say, what's ironic is the music I make now sounds nothing like this, man. But when I was in 8th grade, a freshman in high school, when I started, Lil Wayne was my favorite rapper, dog. He was my favorite. And he just had the mixtape era that he was on was just the shit. You know? Just there's so many good tracks. I can't even think about them, but you know, he was. And then I just went into the complete opposite realm. I went into like deep underground hip hop because the way I got into this was, you know, I saw my buddy writing and I was like, what are you doing? And he just started, he was writing raps and he was recording it on his little karaoke machine. So that really inspired me because I had no outlet like that. You know, I was kind of like a very keep to yourself, like not super social kid. And so that was like a way to inspire, that really inspired me. And it gave me like a sense of belonging. And so I started listening to a lot more underground hip hop because I was introduced to that by him. And so Immortal Technique, Below, Most Def, Quali, Black Star, and really that whole Jedi Mind Tricks, that whole little realm of like underground hip hop, and you know, it kind of broadened from there. But I'd definitely say like some of my earliest influences are Immortal Tech, One Below, Nas, Most Def, and then it expanded from there. And then I grew away from underground hip hop to, you know, more pop or indie acts, and that's like Spotify and Apple Music has like become accessible. You find everybody, you know, there's so many new artists out there, and I'm always like surprised with what's out there.
Yeah, you can go into a rabbit hole. Like once you find an artist, you're like, yo, I like this sound. Then you want to find everyone that sounds like it till you get perfect sound that like just fits your mood, that fits, you know, what you want to listen to.
100%.
I mean, that's the beauty of music now too. Like that's one of my favorite things, like especially with like the page and like the way we do reviews. One of the things like that I've always grown up doing was I was always at FYE. I was always buying CDs, and I would just off of, if the cover was cool, fuck, I'm buying it. I'm gonna listen to it. If it's dope, it's dope. If it's not, you know, it's not. And when like iTunes opened up that world, it's just like, yo, this is fantastic. Yeah, it's like, this is, I can look for what anything, like I can listen to shit from different countries. And to me, it always blows my mind when people say like certain genres of music are dead, because it's like, you're not looking. You're like, you're not looking. It's easier to find than ever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially when people say like, oh, rap is garbage now. I'm like, dog, you have no idea how many dope artists are out there that you don't know.
Yeah.
That's when you like your, you know, your playlist and your, you know, your Spotify. Like, check out my shit. You say it's dead, check this out.
Seriously. Like, there's just so much, like for any type of genre, it's like, yo, if you don't like the shit that's on the radio, on the mainstream, that's fine. There's a way bigger world out there than just the shit that they're force feeding you on the radio. Like there's even, and that to me is a dope thing. For me, it's kind of like a bittersweet thing for as far as producers and production. Like it kind of kills off the crate diggers, but it's a different realm. Like they can still find, you know what I'm saying? Like you can go on YouTube and just search some wild shit, some, you know, a country or whatever type of music they have, and you'll find some crazy shit, you know?
Yeah.
And the world is just, it's there. It's at our fingertips. Like we could do this shit from home. You know what I'm saying? It's easy now. It's not as tough as it was back in the day.
Yeah. You could even flip on Instagram and you just see somebody like singing a cappella, singing like the dopest shit you've ever heard.
Kanye's the master of that. He stay grabbing like sound bites off of like shit that go viral and like, you know what I'm saying? And just flipping it, and, you know, making the Sunday service just flip it. And it's fire. I mean, it is what it is, undeniable. Like some of the things you hear, like these cats on TikTok blowing up, I'm like, yo, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is dope. I would have never knew how dope this person was if it wasn't for this 40-second, you know, 30-second TikTok that just happened. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually found a producer. You know, I rap too. I found a producer on TikTok, and he was getting like 100 likes, 200 likes. And I'm like, this is a crime. And I said, bro, your beats are fire, and we're working on something now. You know, it's
that's a beautiful thing, man. That's the power.
That simple, and it's a good time. And I'm like, yo, this dude's a secret weapon.
Yeah, and it's like, again, like a testament. Like you have no idea what's out there.
Yeah,
and like if you see somebody with low likes or low followers and they're dope, that's like, oh, I just discovered gold. You know?
Yeah,
almost, you know.
Yeah.
That's how you get those dive cards, because they're like, oh, I found something. This is mine. I can't, you know what I'm saying?
That's how old school A&Rs used to do it and shit too. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Let's pitch your money to join us.
So your last album was called Not Quite There Yet. It was like put out in like 2019. Like, how was the process of making that one, and why wait so long to put out a new project?
You know what, man? Like, I think it's taken me a long time because I had to reevaluate what I was doing this for. And I feel like back then in that time, you know, in 2018, 2019, I was touring with Expendables a lot. And which was amazing, like really, really awesome shows, killed it. I made a bunch of fans, but I didn't have a great understanding of streaming platforms, and I was just behind. So like that album should have came out, or that project should have came out like a year and a half prior. But I was too in my ways about like of overthinking how I need to put out music, how it needs to be presented. And also I guess now, you know, the reason why I haven't really dropped another project yet is because I rushed that project so bad. Oh man. And I rushed like my branding. Like I just didn't have my business together. I was like a functioning performer, and I had a good set and everything, and that was really cool, but I didn't have all the other things aligned. Like I didn't have I didn't even have real merch out on tour. And it's just such a shame and a slap in the face.
A lot of money. Yeah. You miss out on opportunities, money. Like
miss out on opportunities, money. And most importantly, you miss out on the opportunities to like really engage and create
a lot of
yeah. And something that people can take home. So, back then I was also like trying to find my sound a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I was experimenting. Like there's there's a whole song in Spanish on there, which I totally feel like isn't far from my brand, and there's just like sounds all over the place, and I feel like I am one of those like hybrid artists who can't stick to just one pocket, but I just did not execute the business side well at all. So there's been some distance because I've been getting that together. And I'm actually, this might be another question that you might ask. Hopefully I'm not answering it in this bit, but I am dropping a project this year. I actually might drop 2. So it's going to be a crazy second half of the year for me.
Yeah, it's all good, man. We're looking forward to hearing that, because I heard the new singles you've been dropping periodically, and it's like, every single one does not miss. You know what I'm saying? It's a dope.
Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all sharing it. Reckless been sending me the YouTube links when y'all did it. I was like, oh shoot, that's what's up. I appreciate the airplay.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You actually described yourself as an electric genre blending rapper. Do you want to expand a little on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's get those. What genres?
Shoot, man, I feel like I definitely grew up in like underground hip hop. So like bars and, talking about the state of the world and my life in that format is just something that it's just embedded in me. So I will always have that. But I definitely feel like all the influences in my life have boiled down to my product now. And, I loved oldies in high school, and I love 90s R&B. That might be my favorite style of music of all time. And like, that's a 90s R&B.
That's one genre. That's one like type of music that we damn near do not have anymore. And it's a shame because that shit was powerful. Like that shit was very powerful. And even to the point where like music reaching those points of like happy or even sad just don't, like, people aren't trying to reach those heights, bro. Like that's why people, people can, I'm starstruck, but people don't pass out in crowds no more,
Right. Yeah, it's wild, man. And I just feel like that genre was just all about having a good time.
Yeah.
And, all the songs are like, maybe it's like, and maybe that era that I really love is more of a blend of like R&B, hip hop style. But it's all about having a good time. It's about love, and, it makes you move. It's like an undeniable booty shaking genre. And so like those style of melodies, those style of like pop R&B melodies that were the thing back then, I definitely have a blend of that in my writing, definitely oldies songs, really descriptive stuff. Like I have this whole other alias that I'm working on where it's all like Frank Sinatra, like style music, and I'm singing in that voice. So it's hella, I know that sounds hella random, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm definitely all over a place. And I think eclectic is probably a generous word for sure for me, but it is it's definitely telling that I'm like blending a lot of things together.
That's hella cool, bro. I mean, it's because it's cool to just like always experiment, because people like to say in one thing, I think that works. It worked last time. I'm gonna just keep going, no matter how, if it gets stale or bland, it's safe. You know what I mean? You decided, like, I'm just plunging in and make this an identity of trying out different shit, incorporating stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, that kind of mentality is dope too, because like if you're always willing to take risks, then it's endless for you, because you're gonna get better at it eventually. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you are, you just get better, you learn more, and it just keeps getting to that point where it's like it's endless. You know what I'm saying? And if you keep taking risks, all you're doing is adding more weapons to your bag. You know what I'm saying? You're just making yourself dangerous in these music streets.
Absolutely. And I think it's like, my intention as an artist is not to just be one thing. I read somewhere that Jay-Z told Kendrick Lamar to drop to Pimp a Butterfly like right after Good Kid, Mad City. because they're such different albums. But Jay-Z was like, yeah, good, drop it, so they don't box you in and they don't see you and let you just be that one thing. And now, like, that's a really telling fact, because, you know, you look at the album that Kendrick just dropped, which is so not Good Kid, Mad City. It's extremely personal. Even Damn is not either of those previous two albums. It's not To Pimp a Butterfly. It's not Good Kid, Mad City. But that's like one of his biggest successes is Damn.
Yeah.
And his new album, and all that allowed him to do that now, because he wasn't like afraid to take that risk or, you know, stay safe, or, you know, I couldn't just rap over boom bap beats the rest of my life. I just couldn't. You know, like there's too much to tell.
Yeah, there wouldn't have gotten those songs you made if you did that shit, you know.
Yeah, and there's too much to it, because it's like if you got to single yourself out to only rap over one type of thing, does that mean you got to only listen to that one type? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like, that's what I always tell, like, I'll tell Reckless, and I'm like, yo, I listen to so much music, like outside of the shit that we review for the page. I listen to so many genres of music, so I can't just make one type of music. I got so many ideas just from the experiences that I have with all these other things. So it's like, what's the point of boxing yourself in? Like, especially if you're not tied to a label. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're not forcing you or like paying you to do that. What's the point? Like, if you're an independent artist, why chase that one sound just to, you know, automatically box yourself in? You know what I'm saying? Because you're immediately telling a label or your fan base and stuff like, this is all I got.
Right. I think from like a business perspective too, like I guess like the contrast or the double-edged sword about kind of, you know, being multi-genre or genreless is with a lot of artists, there's always like a sound that people really liked. Yeah. And so from a business standpoint, why not double down on that sound if people really love or enjoy it? I think it's just the way that we transition that product, or like what makes a Drake album so unique but still similar every single time. And like Drake has a great formula of doing like pop dance hall hits. Yeah. But then he'll bar out on like a song for 3 minutes at the end of it.
Up like on every project, he'll give you one of everything.
Right. And but so he's found a way to preserve.
Yeah, he's one of those artists that there's a reason he's been relevant for over a decade, you know, for like 2 generations of music easily. It's because he's smart. But like then there's the artists like Tyler the Creator, who essentially has reinvented himself every 2 projects.
Yeah.
And it's worked.
Absolutely.
And it's worked, and it hasn't, you know, alienated his fans too much. It hasn't upset too many people. It almost seems like every time he does do it, it becomes better. You know what I'm saying? Like each part, you know, and whether you like it or not, but like just, you know, critically, it just chops the other one. Like this most recent one just went crazy, you know, and I thought I'm like, man, Igor was different and that did numbers. This one's doing numbers, and it's just like, you know, it's that's the game though. That's part of the game. You know, you don't know where to go, but it's like you still can try those things. Like there's room for that. You don't have to, because like Jadakiss is never gonna win the awards that Tyler the Creator has done. And you can argue he's a better rapper all day long. Everybody loves Jadakiss, but he's always gonna be Jadakiss. You know what I'm saying?
And no, it's just a different. And Tyler is one of those like special, you know, people who does it all and is always thinking to the creative maximum. Like he definitely started and presented himself as like a hip hop artist, but he quickly like changed and was like, oh no, there's no rules to what I'm doing. I'm just creating. And
I mean, he put out a Christmas instrumental tape. Like he could do whatever he wants. Yeah. You can't tell him shit. And that's the beauty of it. But that he's also one of those like evolved, like hybrid artists where he produces, he does it all. He does it all. Yeah, and it's awesome. Like it's awesome to see that. Like Mac Miller was one of those artists too. That he was one of those ones. You know, he had the Larry Fisherman stuff. He was producing and rapping, and he was just elevating. You know what I'm saying? Like rest in peace. But it was like he was elevating, and that new brand of those type of artists, those artists will last forever. And it's like that's the kind of roping I'm always going to talk about the mainstream stuff, but like those are the type of artists that I think the mainstream dude should really pay attention to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They should focus on them, like not necessarily like, oh, this guy is a hit, I need to make this hit 1,000 times until one of them sticks. But
yeah, absolutely. You know who's like a great, like Tyler Creator looked up to Pharrell and Chad Hugo of Neptunes.
Yeah.
And so like you can totally see where his influence and where his course of his career has gone. And it's really followed that Pharrell like role.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, look at Pharrell. Like I remember back in the day, like when I was young, it's like, man, this dude Pharrell with these beats and these crazy hooks. Yeah. And now I think of Pharrell and I'm like, oh, that smash hit song from Despicable Me. You know what I'm saying? Like he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like that song is on commercial. Like it's a monster hit. Like that song is on everything, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that kind of evolution. Like Pharrell, you can't put him in a box.
Yeah. Bad man right there, man. He, you know, you wouldn't even know that he produced some like huge hits too, because his individual career is already outshining that other side of him.
Oh yeah. He's big. He's big enough to the point where he's bigger than his name. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like, that's the goal.
Yeah. Much love to Pharrell, man.
Yeah.
So one of the things I admire about you as an artist is your ability to perform really dope live shows. I remember when I first saw you open up for the Watershed hella years ago and shit. That was a great performance. Yeah, I've been in your music for a while, bro. And like the last time I saw you was an incredible performance too, opening up for Kali Bud. So like, what's been your favorite person to open up for, and what do you like the most about performing?
Man, that's a good question. I feel like favorite person to open up for. I'll get to that one, but I think I gotta think about that for a second. Okay. But I did love that Kali Bud show. That was fun.
Yeah.
The thing I love about performing, and I think what made me a solid performer was I used to do Warped Tour. I got put on for the first time doing Warped Tour, and Warped Tour is not a hip hop stage at all.
Cali gets the better Warped Tours. I'm from New York, and I'm a diehard. I'm an old school punk fan, and and every time, you know, we get the New York ones, it's like, oh, we got all these emo. It was always on Long Island. We got a lot of emo bands. We got this pop punk bands, but like Cali always had like the real punk bands, like Descendants and like Bad Religion and shit. And I'm like, damn, I need to go to Cali for one of these. But.
Yeah. I mean, we used to do that at Jones Beach a couple years. We did it at Jones Beach a couple years out there, and the context of Warped Tour is just like, again, it's like so not hip hop, but like occasionally they'll have like
pop act
performers. They'll have like a stage that's like EDM. In like their later years, it was like EDM. They'll have like a rapper or something. I was put on this little small stage that performed next to like the off genres, like EDM, and like if they had a hip hop artist, I was next to that stage, and we had a little tent next to that stage. So during the changeovers, I guess for example, they had Watsky and Wax. I don't know if you guys have heard of. But Watsky and Wax were on that stage next to me one of those years. And so during their changeovers, it's just like 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Our little stage would perform in that 15 minutes and try to pull the crowd from them. And, and that was really difficult because if you weren't a hip hop fan, or if you came to see somebody in particular, you're just passing by all these tents, you're focused. So you had these 15 minutes during this changeover to grab as many people as possible. So you just had to come with it off of the bat. And if you didn't, you failed, and there's maybe nobody in front of you. So they get off, you go right away. And my mentality and how I learned how to perform was just like, as soon as it's my time, I just punch them in the throat.
Let's go after. Yeah.
I just
shock the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I flex the talent. I flex the skill as much as possible. I'll double time. I'll come out with high energy. I'll sing. I'll do whatever I can to grab the attention. And so that like training ground, sorry about the dog, that training ground that, sorry guys.
You're good.
Step outside.
Dogs will be dogs.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
sorry to switch it up last minute, but that training ground that Warped Tour was for me was just taught me how to perform and how to grab people's attention quick, and then keep people engaged. So I guess like where the performance comes in was just that whole experience of having to fight for your audience and having to, not let that moment die where you make it so you're undeniable. You have to pay attention to,
Oh yeah, man, you got to, because if not, you'll lose a crowd. And once you lose a crowd, it's hard to get that shit back. You know what I'm saying? Because they turn against you, and then you're like, oh fuck, a 5-minute set can turn to a 30-minute set. It's like, fuck, still here.
At a festival, people are all over the fucking place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, who's on? What's going on? I got to look at the app. Who's on? Like, what's happening? I got to get food. I got to go to the bathroom. There's a line. Like, it's madness. So that mentality, that's a great way to start it. I mean, that's a great way to fucking just dive in.
Yeah. And, especially when people have paid money to see a specific artist or a set of artists. So
why do they want to see you?
Exactly. They ain't there to see some random rapper in front of a tent, or some random guy rapping in front of like a tent, small, no-name stage. So if you are able to grab their attention, it was kind of like a big deal, because I was like, dang, like I was able to take somebody's moment, even if it was just like 5 to 10 minutes, that was, our set was like 10 to 15. So yeah, man, like that's where I learned how to perform. And I think my favorite person I ever opened up for, I had a great time when I was younger opening up for Zion I.
Oh no.
And rest in peace, Zumbi. Sorry guys, I got a plane going over me.
We can hear you clear.
Yeah, we can hear you though. It's like
great. This is that new MacBook Pro, man, is coming in. It's working. But I think that was one of my favorite shows I ever did, was opening up for Zion I. And what made it real special, it was at my high school, and it was for like a high school hip hop festival that I put on with my teacher, who was a history teacher, but he was a rapper first.
Oh, okay.
Before he was a history teacher, and he introduced me into the San Jose scene, and just kind of was like my first mentor ever. And so, I think opening for Zion I, and after seeing him live at the Catalyst in Santa Cruz prior to opening up for him, that made it real special. It was a high school show, so it wasn't like the biggest crowd ever.
Yeah, but it was a special crowd,
But it was special because of who it was, and reflecting on it now and how grateful I am for that moment. I'd say Zion I. For sure.
Yeah, it's a good ass choice right there to open up for him and shit. We got 2 more questions for you. Not gonna keep you too long and shit, brother. But one of the questions I really like to ask people is, give me your top 5 favorite rappers of all time.
Oh, okay. Favorite rappers and who I think are some of the greatest, for sure. Black Thought from the Roots, absolutely. He's my favorite rapper of all time.
He's a monster.
Monster. I think Royce da 5'9" is one of my favorite lyricists too. So I'm gonna throw him up there. Black Thought, Royce. Shoot, I'm missing somebody already. Nas is in there for sure for me. Nas is in there. I guess when I'm making this list, it's like my favorite and my favorites, not necessarily declaring who's the best or whatever. But Black Thought, Royce, Nas. I'd throw one below from Binary Star in there too, just because I re-listened to one of his old albums, The Sonogram, and I was just like, dang, I can't believe how many times I listened to this over and over and over. And I can hear like his sound in my sound now when I rap, when I write. So I'd say one below, and then I'd probably do Mos Def.
Cool.
Mos Def, and Mos Def, it was like this. He was like a barrier breaker when I listened to him. He was able to like sing and project and be hella soulful in unique ways that I haven't heard other people be.
No one sounds like him still.
No one sounds like him. No. And when he did bar out, he barred out, and it was sick as fuck. It was just so original. So I have to say those top 5. And I think if I extended that top 5 to a 10, I definitely have Kendrick, Cole, Drake in there, and shoot, that might be my list for right now. I'll throw Immortal Technique in there too.
That's what's up.
And Blue from Blue in Exile. That
Yeah, yo, Blue is a problem.
Below the Heavens album was super influential and just one of my favorites ever.
Okay,
that's a solid ass list, bro. You know, first list we have actually includes Drake too, so that's pretty funny.
Wow.
So, lastly, what's next for Amplify, bro? What's the next? You probably already mentioned it, but I see you've been working with like what's his name, Andrew Biggs, man. I see you doing a lot of music with him. You know, what's next for you though?
Man, I think next for me is, you know, I've been tour managing the Expendables, and I've been building like this. Learning on the business side of things and building my network and the people I know and making music quietly in the background. But my next feat this year is to put out an album. I got some dope features on it, and to start touring regularly and doing my own shows. I'm trying to continue to open up for cats locally in San Francisco, Berkeley, Santa Cruz, and, you know, build that name up, get to 10,000 monthly listeners here, eventually get to 100 in the next year or so. But really to just put out music in volume like I have been. Like I started the year with a song every 2 weeks, and geez, man, like the love was real, and it continues to be real. So I want to continue to foster the people who are showing love and who are just riding with me. Like, whether I dropped an album 4 years ago or if I'm dropping a single now, there's just folks that are just like, yo, when are you coming out? When are you doing the next thing? When are you playing a show out here and touring across the country again? So the next move for me is to drop a project and then get back on the road with some of my bigger name friends that are, you know, that believe in me.
That's what's up, man. We're looking forward to seeing all that music, seeing you on tour again, because I know I'm going to be out there, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, my dude. I appreciate you.
Of course,
yeah,
man.
I'm super excited. I'm definitely excited to check it out. Like, hey, man, it's a dope interview, man. This is something like, this is what makes me want to listen to artists more. You know, it's like, yo, I just learned something about this dude. Cool dude. So now I want to check it out for sure, you know?
I appreciate that, man. And thank you for having me on. And I appreciate all the questions. Sorry if I'm long-winded.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. This is the platform for it, man. I rant a lot. It's good to have people who actually interact and want to talk about music, because that's the point. You want to hear about your side, your story, and your passion for it. So that's always going to be dope for us. So to close it out, let people know where to find your stuff.
Yeah, man. @Stay Amplified is my tag on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're at Stay Amplified. And then if you want to find any of my music, you can find me Amplified with the dot at the end. And I'm working on changing the dot. Changing the dot. You know, we make mistakes when we're young. You know what I'm saying?
We all do.
But yeah, @Stay Amplified for everything. StayAmplified.com. That's the easiest way to find anything that's amplified. So there you go. StayAmplified.com.
Solid, man. Solid, man. Yo, again, this was super dope, man. We appreciate you coming and chopping it up with us, man. And appreciate everybody that was here chopping it up. We had some people jumping in the comments. Had Li on the rise, my boy Kyle Knapp. But again, yo, keep in touch with us, man. Let us know when the new stuff's coming out. We get some reviews rocking and all that good stuff, man.
Sounds great, man. I'll share it with y'all as soon as possible. Thanks for having me.
Peace out, peoples.
Yeah.